Hey, what's going on? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update on Litecoin. We're going to go over XRP, Bitcoin, and EOS. And we're going to go over them in that order. And guys, remember that everything is going to be based off of Bitcoin. Whatever Bitcoin does, whenever it breaks out of this consolidation that it's been in now for 2 to 3 months, whichever direction that goes, most likely it's going to be bringing the other coins with it. So that's something you really want to factor in. And that's why a lot of these coins still aren't moving a ton right now, is because they're waiting on the granddaddy Bitcoin to finally make its move. And I really do believe that at some point this week, most likely Bitcoin's going to break out. And guys, like I said, I cannot at this point tell you if we're going to break out to the upside or to the downside. I'm not a psychic. Right now, what we have to do is just look at the technicals and try to put the odds in our favor. And then once the move is confirmed and we break out of the pattern, whether it be on volume or not on volume, something we're going to have to look for, but then we will want to basically ride the coattails of the whales. That's what you always look for. You know, guys, there's so many people out there who say, I know exactly what's going to happen, and no one knows because they're not market makers. The market makers are going to be the ones who determine where the Bitcoin price goes, and we have to ride their coattails. That's basically the simplest thing I can tell you is wait for confirmation and then jump on and ride that trend. That's the best thing that you can do. So we're going to get into all this, guys. If you like these, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm going to try to make it quick. What we're going to be going through today is support and resistance on a lot of these coins. Then we're going to look at the moving averages and a little bit of Fibonacci and a few indicators. All right, so let's dig into this. So first of all, Litecoin, guys, we're at a very sticky spot right now. Okay, so what happened was we came down and we actually found support around $61.88, and that also correlates with this area over here that we had for quite a while, where we were pushing up and then we chopped sideways for about 2 weeks before we finally made that massive run up, and we gained about $40 in 5 days. So that was pretty crazy. But look at that. You see the confirmation? It was on big volume, and that's why I'm always emphasizing volume with moves. Okay, if you're looking for an upside break and all of a sudden we have this beautiful upside break, but it's on small volume, most likely it's going to be a failure, or what we'll also call a 5% failure, where you'll go up 5% and then you'll fail and you'll actually drop back down. So that's something that we really want to look for and pay very close attention to, guys. But what I'm looking at here that we're seeing, we are still in this downtrend, and you can see I don't have any moving averages on because we just want to look at price action right now. Then I'll start throwing the moving averages on one at a time. But what you can do here, our trend line has now changed, and you always want to redraw trend lines as things change here, because we kind of just floated out of the last trend line. We really didn't have a break to the upside or the downside. So what we're going to be looking for, guys, is going off the wicks now, and you can see that area we're running directly into it. If I zoom into it right here, you can see we're having a little bit of failure with this trend line. So this may show that this is the valid trend line that we're looking for off these wicks here. Traditionally, I like to go off the real body, but with the real body, we really didn't have anything, but we just floated through it. So now we're starting to look at these wicks here, and that's something I was reading in my technical analysis book last night, that you're always supposed to change trend lines as they go. If you have some type of failure where it just floats right through them, then that's an invalid trend line, and you want to look for the next opportunity. And the next opportunity here is these wicks that we have here. You can see our 2 points here. We're coming up to our third point here, and we're going to see if we get some type of rejection off there and we start falling back down, or if we're going to have a breakout. Now, if we start falling to the downside, guys, I would like to see support at 64.16, then ultimately around that 61.88, where we had this area right over here where we found support before, and then I'm going to look down to around $50.60 for Litecoin. So those are the downside targets, guys. Now, in terms of the upside targets, what we need to do is get up over top of this cluster that we have right here, and that would be us climbing up above about $77 there is going to be an important area for us to the upside, and then we would start looking up here around $90, which would be a key spot, and then it's going to be that 100 and 111. And remember, this is just support and resistance. This isn't moving averages. Now what I want to do, I want to get rid of our trend line. Remember, guys, still in that downtrend. We have not broken out of it yet, so we are still trending down right now. Keep that on your radar. So once we get rid of all these, now we're going to do our moving averages, and we're going to start with our shortest term first, and we're going to work our way up to our longest term. So we're going to start with our 12 EMA. And guys, basically this entire downtrend, we've been ridden by this 12 EMA, if you can see that there. And we finally got back up above it. We're just slightly up above it right now. So we're going to have to see today if the candle close, if we're up above that 12 EMA, or if we're going to start falling back below that 12 EMA. That's your short-term moving average. The next one is going to be our 26 EMA, and we're looking for a cross of these two, which would be important. Moving averages crosses to the upside and the downside, they can play a big factor. But you can see right here, guys, on the one-day chart, this is a one-day candle. candle, we're seeing some pretty big rejection here at this 26 EMA. You see how we haven't been able to get through it yet, and we do not have that cross, so we do not have confirmation as of right now. If you were going to jump in to Litecoin, guys, I'm not your financial advisor, but I would still wait for more confirmation to jump in. Even if that means you don't get the best price, you want to make sure that we're trending back up again. That's very important. Next one we're going to look at is our 50, which is very significant here in pink. And guys, we have been trading below it since July 10th, 2019, and that's going to be up around that $77 again. So that's going to be a big area of overhead resistance. And then we're going to look at our 20 EMA here. In our 20 as well, we've had our death cross come down through here, and our 20 is going to be acting as overhead resistance. So guys, the best thing that I can tell you right now with Litecoin is wait for confirmation. Wait till Bitcoin makes its move. Because if you were to jump in right now and say, okay, I'm just going to go after Litecoin here, and Bitcoin does end up dropping to the downside, it could really push Litecoin down low, you know, even to those $50 ranges. And you want to be careful of that. You don't want to be buying at 70 if it potentially could go down to around that $50 range. And remember, we have 3 moving averages acting as overhead resistance for us, so the trend is still down, the river's still down, guys. So that's Litecoin. The next one we're going to go to is XRP. And also, I wanted to show this to you guys. So on TradingView here, if you take a look, so right now, technical analysis, what it's showing is a sell signal. And what I'll do here is pull this up for you. So we click on more. And what this does, it actually goes through all the different oscillators and the moving averages, and it will tell you, is it more of a sell, is it more of a buy? And what you can do is go through this like on the 1 day, the 1 week, 1 month, even down to 1 minute time frames right there. But right now on the 1 day, we still have that sell signal. And that's what I'm seeing as well, because we still have that downward pressure, guys. Now, if we go out to the 1 week, our summary is looking like 14 sell signals and 3 buy signals. You can see our oscillators are in the sell and our moving averages are in the strong sell for a week out. And then we can go to our month. You can see it's looking like 11 and 1, guys. And then our oscillators are 2 and 0. We have 7 neutral there, and then 9 and 1. So right now, Litecoin, guys, is in that downtrend. This is even confirming it as well. But I just wanted to show this to you so you can kind of look and see when those oscillators are moving up or when the moving averages are moving up or down. And you can actually go through the relative strength, the stochastic. You can see how they're neutral all through here, the awesome oscillator neutral. So this is something you can really put in your corner here and take a look at it, guys, before you buy or sell anything. So I wanted to put that out there. Next, we're going to go to XRP. XRP right now is at 25 cents. And guys, we're going to look at the same concept here. So this 24 cents is a key area of support that we're going to have to look at for XRP. So right now we're going to see if we can find a bounce off that. Guys, we are still trading slightly above this 12 EMA. We're kind of mixed with it right now in terms of zooming in on the candle, if you can see this. So here, we're slightly below it, guys, but we're going to have to wait for the close today to see if we start dropping back below that, or if we're going to close back up above that and try to challenge this 26 EMA. As you can see, though, the bears have been basically pushing the bulls down at this area. It's a very significant level. And then we have the 50 moving average pushing down on us, as well as this 200 that's all the way up here at 33 cents right now, guys. And what I wanted to point out to you as well on this, as the trend is still down, guys, in terms of the weekly chart for XRP, this is a big point I wanted to point out to you here. We're getting in some very oversold territories, okay? So we're still kind of waiting for a bounce from XRP. It just has not been confirmed yet. And what I want to show you was our stock RSI. You can see how low our stock RSI is at. It's at 3.27 and 2.43. So, you know, if you're looking for a longer position, this isn't financial advice, guys, but if you're looking for a longer position where you would want to hold XRP for the long term, we're sitting directly on support right now with a potential bullish stochastic cross, and we're in greatly oversold territory there. So maybe in the longer term, this is going to be an area that we get a bounce off of. If we don't get a bounce off this, then I'd be looking down to around like 14, 15 cents there to see if we find any support here, and that would be a complete bubble pop, guys. How we went up to over $3 and then came all the way back down, that would be a complete bubble pop. We're almost there now, but this would be the time to really start thinking about, hey, if I think XRP is a very good project and it could be a good long-term hold, maybe you start dollar cost averaging now at 25 cents in XRP. If it goes lower, save a little more, and then just be able to hold that, because in my opinion, guys, and this is just my opinion, these market cycles are going to repeat themselves, and at some point we're going to start moving back up again. And if you're buying XRP at 25 cents, that could be a very good spot to start accumulating. So I just wanted to put that out there on XRP. Wanted to make it a little bit quicker. Not a ton has changed on XRP. The last video I made, we were looking at it at 26 cents. So we're still kind of just floating in that area. We're down 1.06%, and also on the technicals here, you can see we have a little bit more of a sell signal. One day is a strong sell, so that's where I said just be careful. If we go out to the 1 week, it's still a strong sell, and then 1 month, it's still a strong sell, just according to these. Now, remember, this can change very fast. It's the oscillators. Here's your moving averages, and you can go through all these and take a look at each one. But, you know, guys, I've been through this for about 2 years now, and I've seen market cycles, especially when you look at market cycles like XRP, BTC, and you're seeing them repeat themselves. And, you know, people who are successful and are looking at the long term, they're looking at these levels to start slowly dollar cost averaging in. So that's just what I wanted to put out there, guys. Our volume is decreasing right now, so we're going to wait for some type of break to the upside or the downside, and then we're going to have to respond to that. The next one I want to go to is Bitcoin. All right, and with Bitcoin, right now we're at 10,112. And first of all, I want to start with our technical analysis. It's a little tool over here. So on the 1 day, it's showing more of a sell signal. You can see our oscillators, they're more in the buy signal. We have 2 to 1, and then 8 is neutral, so that's almost a little more neutral. Moving averages, it's a strong sell right now. We go out to the 1 week, we actually have a buy signal. We have 6 sell, 12 buys, and then we go out to a month. We have 13 buys, 3 sells, 8 neutrals. So that's something that's pretty cool for Bitcoin right now. And the reason why these moving averages, though, guys, were pushing down on us in the 1 day, if you can see here how it says a strong sell, we have lost the 50 moving average on the 1 day, I do believe. Let me check here, guys. I'm sorry, that was in on the 4-hour chart. For Bitcoin right now, in terms of, we're on the week. Let me get back to the 1 day here. My apologies, guys. Yes, so this is correct. So on the 1 day, we have now lost the 50 moving average. We are trading below it. It's all going to depend on where the candle closes today. We're having a little bit of a sell-off right now, but we're below the 12 EMA, we're below the 26 EMA, and we're below the 50 moving average. Now, one point I want to make to you, moving averages are extremely important in uptrends or downtrends. When you're chopping sideways like this, moving averages are not near as important as they are in that uptrend or the downtrend. So I wanted to put that out there, guys. We're still up above the 100 moving average, and we're up above this 200-day moving average. Now, with Bitcoin, okay, I have it more as a descending triangle. Now, I believe it's a descending triangle, but that's not me saying that this descending triangle has to break to the downside. Yes, they more commonly break to the downside than to the upside, but we have been riding an uptrend here. And whenever you ride an uptrend like this, guys, you still have a higher probability of going with the trend and breaking up out of here, even though it's looking more like a descending triangle. Still chopping in this range. That's just how I see it right now. I'll also show you a couple other ways that I'm looking at Bitcoin right now. Okay, so the next one I'm going to look at is almost like a little rounded bottom, and I wanted to point this out to you. So if we go from this level, and guys, this is probably going to be a little sloppy here, but you can kind of see what I'm looking at there. If we look at these wicks, it's almost like a rounded bottom here, and typically if you get a rounded bottom, you can get a nice break to the upside. Now, we talk about confirmation, guys. We want to break in a candle close that's about 3% on volume up above this trend line where we've been having the higher or the lower highs, excuse me. And that's why I have an alarm for Bitcoin at around $10,900. That's going to show me if we start breaking to the upside, and then to the downside I have an alert at about $9,800, because that could be a sign that we could start potentially breaking down out of that little chart pattern. Remember, with chart patterns, guys, nothing is valid until it's confirmed. So like how I'm saying I see it a little bit more as a descending triangle, that is not confirmed until we start having some type of breakout either to the upside or the downside. Right now, this is all speculative. We're between a rounded bottom. We're between basically a symmetrical triangle, so we could also draw it like this. Some people are seeing it like this, I'm sure, just like that. So we could say, oh, all right, this is almost a symmetrical triangle. Some people are seeing it almost as a massive bull flag or bull pennant. So there's all different types of things, and that's where I said, guys, I'm not a market maker. I can't tell you which way we're going to break. I'm just planning my trade. You know, if we break out of here to the upside on some heavy volume, I'm buying in. We're moving to the upside. Right now, I'm sitting in cash. If we start breaking down to the downside, I'm going to look to see where we potentially could have a nice bounce and then potentially go long off that area. That's what you want to do. You don't want to jump into anything when we still have not had confirmation. Volume's still trending down right now. Candles are getting tight, and that's traditionally what will happen before we have some type of a breakout, guys. So that's what I wanted to bring to you on Bitcoin. I'm just watching this little triangle or flag pattern or symmetrical triangle or rounded bottom, whatever everyone wants to call it. I'm watching for a potential breakout here, and I'm going to be looking at it as all different types: that descending triangle, symmetrical triangle, a rounded bottom, you know, or some type of flag pattern that could be continuation to the upside. And I also wanted to point this out for us. Guys, if you go into the Bollinger Bands, and John Bollinger, the creator of the Bollinger Bands, has been talking about this, that the Bollinger Band squeeze is starting to take place on Bitcoin. And once you start to get this squeeze, you see how the bands are getting tighter? That means a break to the upside or the downside is basically imminent. It's going to be coming very soon. And I do believe we're going to see some type of break here in Bitcoin, most likely by the end of the week with how tight we're getting. So I wanted to point that out. And then, guys, we'll go to EOS here. Let me get that off there, because we were looking at EOS the other day. And remember, guys, if you like me covering these coins, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, smash the like button. Appreciate you all being here with me today, and I'll always try to do the best I can for you guys. I'm not a wizard. I'm not a warlock. I'm not, you know, a psychic, a fortune teller. All I do is plan for the upside, the downside, and I want to put the odds in my favor. That's the main thing. Really want to put the odds in our favor. All right, so with EOS, it was looking probably the most bullish the other day here, guys. And what happened was, and the reason why I say that is because we had a nice strong break here on volume through the 50-day moving average, which is in pink. And now what we're looking at is our 12 EMA potentially crossing over top of this 50. So right now, in terms of EOS, I'm being very patient, and I want to see where we're going to retrace to. If we find support off this 50, if this is just a little cool down pullback, and then we're going to come up here and test maybe $4.46, then up to this 200-day EMA here around like $4.62. But remember, like I talked to you, all this, guys, it's going to depend on Bitcoin. That's just my opinion. I believe it's going to depend on Bitcoin. Could it be one of those things where Bitcoin dumps and altcoins pump? Yes, that's a possibility, and you have to plan for it. But typically, especially when Bitcoin's been in this consolidation for so long, I think when it does break to the upside or downside, it's most likely going to bring the whole market with it. That's just my opinion here. So, guys, we went up. We can see some rejection here. We got rejected around $4.15, and now it's just waiting to see if we do find support or where we're going to retrace to. Maybe this is just a quick retrace and we have another leg up there. That's always a possibility. Want to check on the Bollinger Bands here. We're going to go through a few indicators with EOS. All right, so we're at the top of the Bollinger Bands here. Our middle band's going to be down around $3.57. So I want to point that out there. That could be an area that we retrace to, but I wouldn't like that area due to the fact we'd be losing this 50 again after we had a very positive long day candle close up above it. So to me, that would be a little bit more bearish if we start going down to that level. Then what we're going to be looking at here is our stock RSI. Stock RSI is at 95 and 91. So we're in overbought conditions up here, guys. Not saying we couldn't stay there longer with these indicators, but we are in overbought conditions. So maybe we do need that slight pullback into here before we make another leg up. And then let's take a look at our just traditional RSI, Relative Strength Index. Relative Strength Index, guys, you can see we're moving up here. We set a higher low, set a higher high. We'll see if we set a higher low, but we're starting to roll over a little bit there. We're at 60, so we have plenty of room to move to the upside if another move does come in after we have this quick retracement. So with EOS right now, guys, we are sitting at $4 even. We're down 2.06%, and that's kind of just what I wanted to point out to you all right now. There hasn't been a ton of movement in the market overall. It's just being patient, really waiting for confirmation. That's the number one thing I can stress to you all, is waiting for that confirmation, okay? So if you like these videos, guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll always try to do the best that I can for you. Right now is just waiting for confirmation, being patient, and just seeing what the crypto market does, because whenever Bitcoin does break to the upside or downside, volatility is probably going to get pretty crazy, and I just wanted to point that out to you all. After it's consolidated for that time, when it finally breaks loose, it's probably gonna run pretty hard there. So keep that on your radar, guys. God bless you all. Take care, my friends.